What's going on, guys? My name is Rising, and welcome back to another gun guide for Call of Duty Mobile. In this series, we'll be focusing on in-depth breakdowns, tips, builds, and class setups for every single weapon in Call of Duty Mobile's multiplayer. And today we have another buffed weapon of Season 8, which is in fact one of my personal favorite assault rifles, the CR-56 AMAX. The base model ported from Modern Warfare 2019, the CR-56 AMAX is based on the real-life Galil Ace assault rifle, manufactured by the Israel Weapon Industries. The AMAX, after the buff, is a 4 to 6 shot kill weapon, dealing 25 damage up close, dropping down to 18 at longer ranges. It has a 1.5 times multiplier to the head, which is quite good, a 1.3 times multiplier to the upper torso, and 1.1 times to the lower torso and arms. This means that the gun is very forgiving at most ranges as long as you maintain your shots to kill anywhere but the legs. But since the base damage is low, headshots are not really too effective. This means up close and personal, in fact, in all but the second range, you require at least 2 headshots mixed in with body shots to reduce its shots to kill. Upper torso shots, however, are also not so much useful. But you can extend your 4-shot kill up to the second damage range by hitting at least 2 shots anywhere but the legs. The rate of fire is neither too fast nor too slow, right up in the middle at 706 rounds per minute. This means your time to kill will be 255 milliseconds up close and 425 milliseconds at extreme long ranges. And if you manage to land a 3-shot kill by hitting 2 headshots in the maximum damage range, your time to kill will now become 170 milliseconds, which is nice. And for its range profile, the guaranteed 4-shot range extends up to 16 meters. However, you can stretch it out to 23 meters by hitting at least 2 shots anywhere but the legs. Beyond that, it will be a 5-shot kill up to 36 meters. And if we compare the base AMAX to other top-tier weapons, we see that the range profile is very similar to guns like the Type 19 and the XM4, with the time to kill being just a frame slower than both of them. Also, it is a hit-scan weapon, meaning you won't have any hit registration delay, and thus you can consistently challenge enemies at mid-ranges. This is one of the stronger aspects of this gun, by having a good damage range profile along with good consistency at ranges. So that goes for its range profile, but what about its accuracy? Well, the AMAX has a slightly worse ADS bullet spread even after the buff than the assault rifle average, but this is fine for mid-range encounters unless you're actively challenging head glitches. For its hipfire spread also, it is slightly worse, but will be fine at point blank. Its hit flinch and bullet impact values are also slightly worse. So far you'd be thinking, well, the AMAX definitely does not excel in this department at all. So what good trait does it have? Well, if we see its recoil pattern, this is one of the stronger sides of the gun. The recoil is basically vertical, and not only that, the kick between shots is also extremely low. This means that you can use this weapon with much ease and won't be having any sort of difficulty controlling it. In fact, this is one of the easier ones in the entire category. Now, coming to its handling, the AMAX has a below-average aim-down sight time at 280 milliseconds, thus you must need to take that into account while building it. However, it has a considerably low sprint-to-fire time at just 120 milliseconds, which is actually better than most of the submachine guns in this game. For its mobility stats, it is almost standard as far as assault rifles go. Nothing too outstanding in here. The magazine capacity is standard at 30 rounds with 120 in reserve. It reloads in 1.32 seconds with an empty reload time at 1.30 seconds. This is a bit slower for its magazine capacity, so you must keep that in mind while reloading your weapon. Normally now I do the material penetration stats here, but the AMAX features a unique magazine attachment which changes its penetration value, so let us cover that attachment now. This is the M67 Ammo, which has quite a few significant effects on the base weapon and changes how the weapon performs entirely. With this attachment, the AMAX now functions as a semi-automatic weapon, with very interesting base damage values now involving up to 2 decimal places. With this damage values, we see that it is a 3-shot kill at any range, which on paper is incredibly good. It also significantly improves its head multipliers and now the arms matching the upper torso. This means that now headshots are extremely effective at all ranges, requiring you to hit just 1 shot to the head, and another shot can be anywhere on the body to achieve a 2-shot kill. On top of that, you can achieve a 1-shot kill in the maximum damage range by landing a headshot. But what if you're not so accurate in landing headshots? No problem at all, because you can also land at least one shot to the upper torso or arms to get a two-shot kill. Lower torso shots, however, are useful only at the maximum damage range, so your best interest should lie in hitting the upper body or arms. So far, the M67 ammo looks quite impressive. However, you must remember that the gun is now semi-automatic, which decreases your rate of fire, which is now at 277 rounds per minute, which is actually quite slower than typical semi-auto rifles, such as the SKS and the Type 63. This means that your two-shot time to kill will be 196 milliseconds, which is very competitive. However, if you miss your shots, this gun is heavily punishing, rising your time to kill by 196 milliseconds for each missed shot. This is the primary drawback of using this ammo conversion over typical semi-auto marksman rifles. However, if you're able to land a headshot in the maximum damage range, your time to kill will be an instant 0 milliseconds, which is obvious. Speaking of ranges though, this attachment boosts all of our range values significantly. Our potential one-shot headshot range extends up to 40 meters, while our potential two-shot range, considering you hit the upper torso or arms, is now up to a staggering 75 meters, which covers almost all of the standard 5v5 multiplayer maps in this game. So you need not be looking onto boosting this range, as range boosting attachments are literally pointless. In fact, you can afford to lose range with this attachment, which will be coming shortly. Apart from its lethality, it also has a few other minor effects on the weapon. It reduces your base aim down sight by 35%, which is now at 378 milliseconds, which is not so good but can be improved with attachments. Its magazine capacity is also decreased to 20 rounds, which is fine for a semi-automatic weapon. This attachment also reduces the ADS bullet spread, however, it is still a major drawback of this weapon because unlike the SKS or Type 63, you need to build it for BSA. Its recoil is also technically increased, but because of its semi-auto nature, it won't be too much of a problem in most gunfights. It also improves the bullet impact and material penetration, and this is the time where we see its penetration values. The base AMAX does 56% damage through thin cover and 52% through medium cover. With FMJ, it improves both of these values, which is now at 80% through both forms of covers. The M67 slightly improves its penetration compared to the base weapon, and combining both FMJ and M67, we have 88% damage through both thin and medium cover. So FMJ is not really so much useful in this weapon, and you can use something else that has more impact on it. And with that, we've covered all of the important stats of the base weapon along with the M67 ammo. Now's the time to see how to build the AMAX effectively. The base weapon is quite strong with good consistency, range profile, and recoil control. However, it falls behind in terms of ADS bullet spread. For this reason, we use the monolithic suppressor for concealment and improved range. We have the granulated grip tape and the tactical foregrip A to reduce its bullet spread, no stock for improved mobility, and finally the extended mag A to improve its magazine capacity. With this build, we have minimal downsides and quite a few upsides. With the monolithic suppressor alone, we have extended our guaranteed 4-shot range up to 20 meters, with our potential 4-shot range up to a great 37.5 meters. This is now a very competitive range profile, and with its consistency and low recoil, you can even use this at longer ranges and will be perfectly fine. Here are the other important stat changes. Our aim down sight is barely reduced, and we have improved our mobility values, which are now standard for an AR, with our ADS movement speed becoming much better. Our BSA is also improved, and the recoil is still very easy to control. This is a well-balanced build which does not compromise any of its important stats, while also making it accurate at ranges. And that's for the base AMAX. Now, if you want to use it with the M67 ammo, then I also have a second build. With this, we're using the intruder stock and the no stock to improve its overall mobility. We have the OWC light suppressor because we don't have to worry about ranges at all, granulated grip tape to recover some BSA, and finally the M67 ammo itself. With this build, we have tried to improve the mobility values along with its BSA, and now our one-shot headshot range is up to 36.8 meters, with our potential two-shot range up to a nice 69 meters, which still covers vast majority of our gunfights. You cannot really compare the M67 with other full auto weapons, but here's the time to kill over-range profile comparison of it with other top-tier weapons. Here are the other stat changes if you want to have a look. An interesting point to note here is that our maximum ADS bullet spread value is somehow increased. I'm not sure exactly why, but it is nothing to worry about for a semi-automatic weapon since you'll never reach the maximum spread in most practical gunfights. For an example class setup, for respawns we have the FHJ-18 for taking down streaks,
We have the perk Greed Red as our wild card, allowing us to carry 2 red perks, which we have Dauntless and Flak Jacket in this case. And for the other 2 perks, we have Quick Fix and Hardline. You can swap out Hardline for firepower support if you want. For the lethal equipment, we have a Molotov cocktail, and for the tactical, we have a trophy system. Operator skills and score streaks can be chosen as preference. For Search and Destroy, I use a melee for rushing, although you may use a pistol if you want. The perks remain the same apart from using Dead Silence in the blue perk slot. We have a frag grenade as the lethal equipment and a smoke grenade as the tactical for blocking enemy lines of sight.
And with that is going to wrap it up on the gun guide for the CR-56 AMAX. As for my thoughts on the weapon, this is one of my personal favorite ones in the game. The AMAX is actually quite strong, which most people do not realize. Definitely it is not meta-worthy, but it can compete with most of them. It has a solid range, great consistency, low recoil, and manageable ADS bullet spread. It is a perfectly balanced weapon, and I'd highly suggest you to give it a shot, and I'm pretty sure you'll like it.
And of course, those were just my thoughts on the CR-56 AMAX. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think of this weapon? Firstly, have you unlocked the free legendary blueprint for it? And even if you haven't, do you enjoy using it? Just let your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll try to cover all of the buffed weapons for the current season before the next one arrives. So if you have anything in mind, let me know which one you want me to cover next. Join my Discord server to gain access to all of my recommended builds for all of the weapon, along with other in-depth analysis which I've been. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.